All right, recording's back up. Okay, so now, as I was saying in the second part here,
Just so you're aware, I can. Oh wait, never mind. Never mind.
yep,
I can see now.
okay. Um, so, oh, did you disconnect from it?
No, I joined.
Oh,
That's
you
why I
joined.
was thrown
Oh,
off.
okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so yeah, so this next part about talking about like both the competitive journey and also like with practice, I think
Mhm.
the starting your journey and also about like practice, it's going to go over the same thing, so that's why I want to combine the two. So I
Sure.
wanted to start by asking a couple questions for both of them. So,
Mhm.
what when you first got into like League, what is it that you wanted to actually do? Like not when you started wanting to compete, but like when you just started playing League. Like, was there something? What got you basically into like doing League? Was there something that you actually saw that you thought was pretty cool that happened, or?
Yeah. I wanted to be. I was in. Like, I started playing League because my friends played it. My friends were much, much better than me. Now I wanted to be at the same level as my friends. And then also, I would just like watch like highlight videos. I would be like, I really want to do that. Like, that's really cool.
Okay, friends playing it and want to be on same skill or better, and then saw highlight reels and wanted to do what they did.
That
Cool.
was when I started for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will let you in on a little secret. I think most
Okay.
anyone who's ever played competitively or like started competitively, it started from this actual beginning too.
Yeah, probably.
Because that's definitely how it started for me with competitions. Because
Hmm.
like, I didn't compete. Like, this just goes back to when I started playing like Smash competitively. Because I always played it casually. When
Hmm.
Brawl came out, like, well, not in 2008 when it came out, but like when I actually start seeing tournaments like back in 2010 and everything,
Hmm.
I saw how so many people were like playing in tournaments, and like I saw like like M2K and Brawl and Melee. Like, I was seeing like, man, that's so cool that he's playing both of these games. That he's doing so well. I want to go to these tournaments and
Yeah.
see what I can do in those. Um, Sadly for me, when Brawl came out, I devoted so much time to it that when I went back to Melee, Melee was just a different game for me. So it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I can't be M2K. I could be
Hmm.
Brawl M2K. Um,
Right.
so yeah, so we saw something like either something cool we wanted to do, or we just saw like, saw the skill level of it and wanted to see if we can get there. And that's
Hmm.
how most of our competitive journeys actually start. And this will actually lead into then how I think the idea of like, with practice, how this will actually help give you a focus.
Okay.
Because if you're wanting getting into the game and you want to actually like be on the same skill level as them, we need to find out, oh, what's something that I can work on like, right now in order to actually help myself like, improve. So
Hmm.
that's where the this part about it, like practicing comes into mind, because like it just basically it's like the precursor into like moving into practice and everything.
Hmm.
uh so let's ask these other two questions real quick. Like, how do you normally like practice for League? For example, since you said for Smash, like, you feel like the practice isn't like as in as what you want it to be, and what do you consider like good
Yeah.
practice habits?
So when I play League, it's easy for me to outline because it's something that like I've had to be very intentional about and think about. And when I'm not practicing well in League, I can feel it, and that's how I know that. That's why I feel that I'm not practicing well in Smash.
Mm-hmm.
But good practice in League, I think, comes from probably the session before it. I would typically review a game, or sometimes when I start a session, I'll review a game from the day before, and I'll be very critical, and I will look for something that was like why did I die here? Like, why did we lose? What
Mm-hmm.
happened? In League is this is really important because one, I feel like games in general are much more fun when you have an objective to work towards.
Yeah.
And two, League is a team game, which is really, really fun and competitive, and really, really miserable in solo queue, because sometimes you will play super well and you'll play above your skill level and still lose, which is a really weird feedback loop for like when you're trying to improve. Like if you studied really hard for a test and still failed, like that would feel really weird.
Yeah.
And so when you're thinking, instead of like, did I win or lose, when you're thinking like, did I complete my objective or did I not complete my objective, it can feel like you're totally win streaking, even if you're down like 100 LP on the day, which is really, really nice. It's like a really, once you're in that mindset, it's really good. And so I think good practice comes from like what you've highlighted, like having an objective going into it and think about the binary of like, did I execute my objective or did I not? And if I did not, then why?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think good practice habits are.
Okay. Do you kind of have like a, so it sounds like looking at like a VOD, analyzing what like what's something that you can take away from it, what was good or bad, like something good that you should keep doing or something bad that you want to change, and then going into like, you know, solo queue or something, trying to actually just improve on that. Does that sound like the regular way that you go about for practice?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Do you actually know that that's actually a scientific method that's already been described before out there?
I am familiar. If you're going to talk about Carol Dweck's improvement mindset, then yes. But if it's something else, then I'm not familiar.
Oh, well, I actually don't know what that was that you just said, but...
Oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's all good. So that's actually something I can learn today, too, if you want to share that later. But,
yeah.
The thing that I was actually about to say is you know, like when you were in elementary school, middle school, and like they had you do like all these different science projects, and like they wanted you to follow the scientific method.
Yes.
That's the flow of improvement. Actually, is the scientific method. So actually, all your science teachers were secretly very good. You know, competitive gamers. They just didn't let that side of them out.
Well, it's interesting you say that because that's my studies at school. I'm obviously in school right now. Are very like heavily research focused. So a lot of like, I think the most interesting part of research is analyzing past research and like building upon it, which is kind of follows the same. Obviously, it's going to follow the scientific method.
Yep. So yeah, so this will probably be like really up your alley, like with practice and stuff, because along with like the scientific method of it, I've like kind of just like reworded and rephrased it into like a anagram for like the word called idea for improvement.
Okay.
So what idea stands for is just identify, develop, exercise, and analyze. Which for you, it seems like you already kind of do that process of like, you start with like identifying like something interesting that like you observed like in a match or so, and just trying to actually take it into the develop phase, which like, you know, develop solutions for like what you observed, like when you watch that match of like League. Then after that, so after looking at the VOD and like you're deciding to develop solutions, that's this develop part is where like you're either in the lab on your own just like trying to figure things out, or maybe you do further VOD research into like that specific subject about like on like what you're very curious about, or even talking with other people on like that subject too.
Yeah, and League has the advantage of that it's an extremely like popular game. It's a game that's only online, so like you're never going to, or you're very rarely going to a LAN for League, right? So any game that's played online at like the very highest levels of play is going to be publicly accessible. So if I'm like playing a matchup, I'm really, really stumped. I took an all-in, or I took a 2v2 trade, and I don't really understand why we lost it. I can just Google like League of Legends Challenger Nautilus versus whatever character, and I can watch what they do and think like, how would I, like I always do this too, I'll watch a VOD, and I'll pause right before a big moment and think like, what would I do here? And then I'll hit play and watch what they do. And if it's different, I'll like I'll probably chew on that for like 2 days. Like, why are we different? Like, for what reason can I justify how they did it?
Yeah.
And then like I'll test that.
Mm. That's perfect. That's actually a great way of actually looking at that. Um, and that was what I was going to suggest about it too. Was like that whole look back at it, think about what you might have done in that situation or why was it that they did that, and then
Mm-hmm.
think about it and then go into like development phase of like is this actually very good or is this just something that they or like that this just something that they just like to do kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Watch, pause,
Mm-hmm.
and look. So yeah, develop solutions. Uh, so yeah, after you develop, like you go and like look at other matches and everything, it's time to go ahead exercise the solutions. Go ahead and go play in solo queue or like go like do when you're practicing with your team. Have those focuses in mind, where like they're
Mm-hmm.
kind of the same way about like I like to describe it in a sense like to people when they're playing like Smash and stuff. They have this issue where like when they're just playing friendlies, just like what you said with like solo queue, like they're just playing solo queue or like they're playing at someone else, and all they're caring about in these like casual matches is if they
Mm-hmm.
won or they lost, because to them it's like okay I won so that means there's improvement, but then they lose at a tournament where it actually matters. They're like I don't get it, I've been winning in these friendlies. um
Right.
uh, so what I've told people before about like these kind of ideas for exercising their solutions, make them into like RPG like side missions where
Okay.
like the idea is that like what's something for example in League that like you're working on right now.
Right now, I'm focused on, since I'm learning new characters, a big part of them is understanding matchups. And so when I'm going into a matchup, I'm thinking, I have a whole like 10-page note sheet that's just running notes of when I play.
Yeah.
Whenever I play a matchup, I'm thinking, have I played this matchup before? If I have, then I'm gonna reflect on like how I felt last time I played it, and I'm probably gonna really test like what my thoughts were on that. If I haven't, I'm going to like make up. I'm gonna like eyeball the matchup and say like, well, I know this character kind of wants to do this. I imagine my character would beat them by doing this, and then I will test that. And then if it worked, I'll try to get really curious as to why it worked. If it didn't work, I'll try to get really, really curious as to why it didn't work. Um, but yeah, for like League, it's like understanding matchups. If it wasn't for that, it's stuff like it's a bit tricky with League because typically, like when you lose,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What's your level of familiarity with League? I don't want to get into terms that like don't make sense.
Oh, I have absolutely not. I know nothing about it besides my
Okay,
one
okay, sure.
friend. He's supposed to tell me the lore of League, but he never told me that.
That's fair. To be fair, that would take a very long time, probably. But in League, there's like two phases of the game. There's laning phase, which is where everybody's playing against their counterpart,
Mm-hmm.
and then there is mid/late game, where everybody on the map starts to kind of go wherever, and the game is more about like there's objectives on the map that you can take. Okay.
Okay.
And typically, when you're trying to improve the game, the mid late game is really, really amorphous, and a lot of things can go down, and there's skills you can develop, but those are going to be really contextual to game by game, and it's more like theory based stuff.
Yeah.
Your laning phase is relatively consistent because for the first like 10 minutes, you're almost always be playing against the same opponent. No, like your matchup's not going to change or whatever. Like that's always going to be the same.
Uh
And
huh.
so when you're trying to improve, you're going to be really critical of that laning phase. Which is, I mean, like for Smash, that's probably like most of the game. Like you're playing your matchup,
Mm-hmm.
but also that's my limited understanding.
No, it's constantly like doing like little things like differently compared to how you would like in different matchups. It's kind of like going back to the topic before that we said about like how a certain matchup, um, like Steve mining or something like that. Like regardless of what
Mm-hmm.
character, Steve will always mine. Like it's not going
Yeah.
to change his game plan. It's just going to change like how difficult you make it for him to mine, kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Um, so yeah, so like an RPG like side mission kind of thing is where like for you like League, you're trying to learn matchups or like learn specific things about them. What I would say like for like let's say if I was like your league coach or something, maybe a
Hmm.
task or something I want you to actually focus on like when you're practicing that day is just learn one new thing after a like solo queue match.
Okay.
It's like just you find out one new thing about like a character that like you're focusing on. It's like okay, you found out that one new thing about the character like midway through the game. Right, like either write
Hmm.
it down or keep a mental note, and then just play regularly. And then
Yeah.
after,
Oh, actually,
yeah.
sorry, I still have a way better example that might translate way better.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of engaged characters in League, like what I am playing right now, are reliant on like one very specific skill shot to land. If it lands and it doesn't land, like that is make or break for most of the game. So something you might focus on is like I don't know how to translate to Smash, but I'm sure there's a translation here of like if I whiffed my hook, like why did I whiff my hook? Did I go at a really inopportune time? Sometimes, and I know this is the case in Smash. I know I get away with this a lot. Um, there is a concept called like, was it your skill shot to hit or was it their skill shot to dodge? Did you set up a skill shot that was like 90% to hit, or did you chuck one and they were supposed to dodge it and they didn't and you got away with it?
Hmm.
I
So
imagine translates well to Smash.
yeah, I kind of get. So I think I'm kind of getting the idea. So like with trying to actually set up one, it's in Smash it would be something like basically like conditioning in order to actually get that hit, or like your understanding of like
Yeah,
where they are in that. So in Smash that would be like the same thing. Like you're trying to actually get like a certain kill confirm to actually work on a character. So let's say let's say like a rushdown character for example, like Fox. He wants to
hmm.
get at higher percents. He wants to get like weak hit neutral air and then go into up smash because that works in every single Smash game for some reason. um
That's so funny. Yeah.
so he's trying to find that at like higher percents like 100 and he's
Uh huh.
finding out that like hey, these aren't working. Why are these not working? So let's look at this. It's like, oh okay, they're shielding them. So in order for me to get them to stop shielding, I should start grabbing them. Okay, so
Uh huh.
I'm grabbing them. It's like, so now you switch to like grabbing a grab game against them, and like you start seeing that like they're swatting you away. It's like, oh crap, they're swatting me away. It's like, wait, that's not shielding. Go back to Nair.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Okay.
Um,
Follow.
so yeah, so in Smash, kind of like in that similar, like yeah, so it can kind of correlate pretty well like with between League and Smash in that way. We're like trying to a still set up still shot. Something, for example, that you could do is like just try to is like hit one still. So like, and this would be like just multiple things. So like you can accomplish one of them and then go to just playing the match regularly. So hit one still shot. It's like okay, the objective's completed. Finish the solo queue. Think about it. It's like okay, I'll write some notes on it. It's like afterwards. It's like how did I get that still shot?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm saying skill,
Oh,
like
skill shot. Okay,
like an
sorry.
ability. Yeah, I don't think it's that relevant, but
No, no, it's all good. So yeah, so how do I get that skill shot? Did so like did they just run into it? Their habit in that situation? Did I do something that forced it? Burnt a resource or made myself look vulnerable to like made myself look vulnerable, so make them like run in towards you.
Like commit, yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one is set up for a skill shot 2 times in solo queue. And then whether you actually do get the shot or where you do actually get the shot off or not, it doesn't matter. You just set it up 2 times and just think about like things like how did I set, so again, like how did you set that up?
Mm-hmm.
And it just goes on from there. So it's that cycle of do this one thing, finish solo queue, or do this one thing and smash. Then after the match, take like, a good 15, 30 seconds or maybe even a minute and just think about, like what went good or bad about it for that objective, and then just
Mm-hmm.
add different improvements on it. And then the last part about it, the analyze, this actually just becomes a whole big circle, because all analyze is what I identify is. Except the difference now with analyze is looking back. Oh, actually, that's right here. And scoot down some. Looking at replays to see if you improved at what your objective was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we, instead of going into like, those matches that we reviewed before and like not sure what it was we were trying to do, now the next time we go into a match of ours and like we have a replay, we'll look specifically at that one thing that like we've been working on to see, okay, did we improve on it? If we did, great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's find something new. If we didn't, okay, why didn't we? Let's dissect this again and then go back through the process.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm happy my OBS is responding, so that way we could actually look at a match, because we can actually do this with honestly any characters, any top players that you're actually very interested in seeing, like some gameplay of.
I haven't watched Smash in probably a year. Oh shoot, let me pull up the list. Let's see like a Fox matchup.
Okay, so let's say Light versus anyone in particular, or just like basically his mostly recent match.
Sure, most recent's fine.
Okay.
Who's this player? Light? I'm not familiar with them.
He is your number 1 Fox player in the world.
Okay. I'll write
And
that
he actually
down.
has some. I haven't watched him, but he actually has some stuff on Metafy, like their YouTube channel, for free that you can look at for Fox.
Really? Okay, yeah. Check that out then.
So yeah, Blight versus. I think I don't know who he played, but he was at Terra. That's a tournament that was overseas.
Okay.
Okay, so he played Tweak. Actually, I did watch this match. But well, it's more like I just had it on. I don't actually think I really just like looked at it. So we can look at this one.
Okay.
Let me turn this off. So, kind of what you said before, like looking at matches. You said that you either look at them for like something that you think you could have done better, something that was interesting to you that you thought that you could probably learn from. Those are good points for VOD reviews that you can keep doing. Just adding on from my experience with like doing VOD reviews with people normally, the ways that I usually tell people to like look at VODs is that they look at it for 3 different scenarios. The first one is like the neutral scenario, which is just literally as simple as why did I get hit or lose neutral?
Okay.
Um, the second one, and these all deal with just the phases of the game. So like neutral, the next one is advantage, where like you have them off stage, you have them in the corner or in the air. Is
Mm-hmm.
like, could I have done more in this situation? Could they have died in this situation? Could I have put more damage on them? Did they get out of like the corner like instantly once I put them in? Why did that happen?
Okay.
And disadvantage is like when since it's reversed is okay. I just want to get back to like neutral. So what's the easiest way for me to get? It's like what's the easiest way for me to get back in this situation without taking too much damage? Or maybe
Mm-hmm.
you've been stuck at disadvantage for a long time. It's like, why is it that I've been disadvantaged for such a long time? Is there something that they've been punishing me for that either keeps me here, or makes me lose my like stocks, like sub 100 or sub 50%?
Yeah, that seems super intuitive. That makes sense.
Uh, so we'll just go ahead and take a look at this match. Um, like we'll just look at like the first game of it. I'll slow it down a little bit too, so we
Sure.
can just kind of watch it at our own pace there. And then after
Okay.
the first game, we'll just kind of point out some things that like we're just interested by when we're watching Light play, and then we'll just bring the
Mm-hmm.
two things together and then see if there's something that like we want to learn from his gameplay. So let's see here. And then feel free to just kind of like blurt things out too if you saw there's something that was interesting for you.
Oh man, But actually, can we pause? Actually, I have a question.
Yeah.
So in this matchup, he's been. It's not necessarily about this like past 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Like in this matchup, so far from what I would expect out of a Fox player, it feels like he's playing extremely safe. Is this like how a high level Fox would typically play, or is this a matchup specific thing? In your opinion?
If I have to think about the matchup, well, let's scroll back. Let's scroll back to the beginning and maybe think why it is that he's playing like kind of slow like this.
Mm-hmm.
Because the things in the matchup, I'll pause here and just talk about it. The things in this matchup that would probably be very scary to think about for Fox is he's like that prime, like actually when you think of all those qualities you said before about like a combo character, Fox literally fits
Uh-huh.
everything to a T. He's like the absolute like, you look at Rushdown, it's Fox. So
Yeah.
his combo game, a lot of time it's not focused on true combos. It's more
Yeah.
focused on like frame trapping characters, like you said, like knowing the recovery of like when someone air dodges and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Fox will put characters in like what's called like frame traps or vortexes, where he'll up air them or something, even if they air dodge, because he falls back and recovers to the ground first. He can then just like reset the situation, do another up tilt, and then reset it again. And then like if they air dodge, it's like okay, I fall back to the ground, I up tilt you, or maybe it's high enough that instead of up tilt, I go for up smash. So you kind of lose because you're in this
Okay.
vortex, regardless what you do.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Um, Now Bayo, because of this, Bayo has two interesting things that makes that very scary. Bayo's air dodge is so most characters' air dodges are like frame 4 or frame 3 or something like that.
Okay.
Bayo's air dodge is both frame 2 or frame 1, I can't remember, but it's like one of the faster ones in the game. And it also
Okay.
freezes you a little bit, like when she gets hit. So like that actually happened.
Yeah, yeah.
So that happened here, like when you saw like her go to like disappear after this air dodge.
Yeah, that.
Yep. So that's bats within. So that happens anytime that like you do like a roll, air dodge, things like that. The other
Okay,
thing.
is that why we see? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead. I want to hear what it was you're about to say.
Is that why we don't? Because in my head, like we pause right here, or maybe in a second. There's a spot where, like, in my head, I'm like, okay, he has her in a great spot, and it feels like he just lets it go. Maybe it was a little earlier. I think it was earlier even than this. I think it was okay. Can we go back to like the very start? I think it was in the first like 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's fine.
Maybe after like the 5th second. Right here. I'm so confused on why that is like reset.
Oh, because
She is too far away.
I think for him, he was trying to actually. It could be just like a rare case, because yeah, he had enough time to like run up after. I think what it is maybe there was something earlier about like. I think he was more concerned of like committing to go for like a dash attack, because remember what I told you about bats within?
Yeah.
Say he goes for a dash attack, Bayo decides to air dodge like right underneath this like the platforms here. When he comes in the dash attack, he will not only will it'll slow him down a little bit, but he'll still have that other end lag that's still going on that will allow Bayo to actually go for like a up B punish and then start a combo.
Okay.
So that's actually up B is actually the big reason. So there's 3 big things. So there's the bats within, which mess up characters that like to do like frame trap combos. There is witch twist, her up B, which that move is very hard to deal with out of shield, because it's like so disjointed. It's just so messy, like of a move.
Okay.
That like Fox likes to do a lot of shield pressure to characters because like how fast he's able to do things. Fox can't do that on Bayo because of the witch twist up B that can happen anytime, because they just witch twist out and they just start a combo. So them being in a bad situation now became a good situation because they have that great option out of shield.
That makes sense totally. Okay.
So that's why we're probably not seeing him like do the regular shield pressure that you imagine a Fox would do, or like rushing down as much.
Okay.
And then her down B witch time, which is just like, same as bats within, but that actually does slow you down. That's another thing you have to be afraid of, like, because they can just pop that at any moment and like just instantly reverse you.
Yeah. Okay. That all makes total sense, and I'm assuming then that's why he's adapted his game plan so much to be like less committal.
Yep. And then the other part that I forgot to mention too is that like him, that's what it was he was probably afraid of, is in this situation, Bayo is also another tricky character because of their side B, which I'll point out the move once they do it.
It's like the fist thing, right? Am I thinking of, or like the?
It's like
I guess the whole thing is the fist
slide,
thing.
like they slide on the ground.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, that was the startup of it right there. So that move's also hard to deal with on the ground, but also when it's in the air, it can go into 2 type of situation, like 2 different ways. You can change it to where like that angle right there that you saw when we start back here. Like, you can side B like this, and then I'm pretty sure Bloom starts a combo off this. Yep, he literally reverses him and turns him around. Like this is where we basically stopped before we started. Before we rewind.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, he can do that. He can also angle like when he does like the side B like that in the air. He can angle it down.
Okay.
So yeah, so he can do like a diagonal down motion like that too. So that's a lot of stuff you have to deal with this character.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay. Mm. So kind of like I'll just pause it real. Oh well, I'll see if he finished this stock off. Okay, does it? So like kind of based on like those things there.
Yeah.
Like those kind of moves already kind of invalidate like Fox's regular game plan of like being this true rush down, just like doesn't care what you do on the defense, or like doesn't have to care as much as what you do on the defense because he's so quick and like has these great
Yeah.
buttons. So he has to play more mindful, has to play like play a little more defensive with his rush down, so shooting more lasers, waiting a little bit, and representing different kind of options, like representing more grabs in the situations, and
Mm-hmm.
waiting to whiff punish things.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Okay, he gets grabbed here. He shouldn't die, even though it's close. Ooh, nice. Oh, that was lucky for him.
What happened there? Did the Bayo just mess up?
For oh the oh for which move was it? When I saw that was a little earlier. I think it's that move.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was about to say he just fell out. Sometimes like based on
Oh,
how he
okay.
was when he was on top of the move, he just fell out from it.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so very lucky because yeah, that definitely was going to kill. Mm. Mm. But yeah, you can see here for another example, like of like him having to play a lot slower. Cause see how this side B that came out, like in this scenario where like he was in the corner. That
The Bayo side B?
Yep. That
Yeah,
snipes like pretty well, like jump in approaches and things like that, and starts a combo. So like it was thankful
that
that
makes sense.
yeah. So it's a good thing he wasn't trying to jump in that situation, because otherwise he would have got hit by that. Maybe a combo started to kill him, but
Okay.
he still loses stock afterwards because of like the mix up of is Bayo going to actually do the up B now to try and get away, or are they going to try air dodge and get away from you kind of thing. But they
Yeah,
just decide to go for
totally.
down there. That's within. Ooh, interesting. He was able to still pick that up after.
Pick what up? I'm sorry.
Let me. He went for another up air in this situation,
Mm-hmm.
and the bats within happens. But remember what I told you about like what Fox with like vortexes and stuff?
Yeah.
He was still able to like catch this during the end leg of the bats within and get a back air.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even catch that.
Let's see. Is there anything from this that like you're finding very interesting that you'd like to actually apply like into your gameplay, like whether it's Dark Samus or like playing as Fox or something, if you were playing Fox.
I think that what I'm looking for right now when I watch, and maybe this is like a poor matchup for it because it sounds like it's a more atypical matchup. But in League, something that's always helpful when I'm trying to learn a new character is forming like a blueprint. If this character is like against a training dummy, what would it want to do? What's my like? What we're talking about, like mid-level players, like you're just executing your game plan. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that yet. So what's my game plan?
Oh, okay.
Before I can think about like what's my opponent's game plan.
Gotcha. So forming yours. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, this would actually be a matchup that'd be very hard to actually do it because Bayo, because about to say Bayo is like the anti-Fox kind of situation thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is good because this is like an alternative way to execute this game plan,
mhm.
but probably not one I would do often if I was trying to replicate it, like off the bat at least.
Yeah. Let me let's pause it. Let me go ahead and redo it, and then looking into that mind frame of it, we'll look at it from like how. Actually, let's look into a different Fox matchup then, so that way you can kind of see what the Fox game plan does regularly look like then.
Sure.
The way I would say, like, looking at a game plan is just like you look at a character and you see what is basically so broken about the character that you should be just spamming it and just like trying to actually get it out as much as possible.
Okay.
Because it leads into so many good things. Gamo was only a month ago? That's actually crazy. Um so yeah, so this would probably be a good one because so I'll say for this match then, for like the focus, look at what it is that Light is trying to hit, like move wise. Either it's a
Okay.
move or a scenario. Who has the
I just saw the Bernie. Yeah.
So yeah, so like look at. Let me see if this is on too. Okay, it is. So yeah, so look at what is the moves that Light is trying to actually like hit the most in.
Like what is he spamming?
Yeah, or like he's trying to constantly try to hit. Not the side B
Okay.
though. We know side B was a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, and then when you think that you've got it, you can just go ahead and just blurt it out.
It looks like Nair.
Yep.
Or at least in that window it was. He's definitely fishing with neutral B a lot as well.
Yeah. I would 110% say that most of Fox's game plan is like I just said right there. It's literally get Nair, get a conversion.
Yeah.
Because that would actually be like how he forms his game plan around stuff, is that he would actually choose the one broken thing, which if we just literally go back to the start of the match and just like watch all the nairs that he's been getting or that he's trying to get, he like we'll see what happens after he gets the nairs. All right, he gets this nair, but he doesn't think he can convert off it, so he goes away. This nair, he's able to get another nair. He gets a combo and possible edge guard. Gets another nair, edge guard. Okay, he gets a grab there, pushes them off. I think this is where he gets the next nair that kills after he gets some lasers on. Yep. So yeah, so his whole big thing is he's trying to put scenarios where he can actually get his nair off, or if he can't get nair, get start a combo from like something else.
Okay.
It seems like is what it is. Um, okay, so that's a stock right there. So yeah, let's just watch his near usage, and see how Spargo reacts to like trying to avoid nair. Good. Now he's in the air. Mm-hmm. Ooh, that was close. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, got the what is it? During like this exchange here, it's like he parried it, but it was still so safe that he couldn't actually get the up smash out in time.
Uh,
Okay. All right. So now it looks like just from how I'm watching right now, Light's not
mhm.
able to actually get as many nairs off as he was getting before.
Mhm.
So he had to like change it up a little bit and do like some other options, which it seems like it's introducing new aerials and also playing like more grounded.
This is like what you were saying earlier, where you were going for something, but they keep shielding, so you start going for grabs, but then they stop shielding, so you start going for the thing again.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, so
Okay.
Light was realizing it's like okay, it like after that first stock, Sparko's been playing around my has been playing around oh that's yeah, that should be it there.
Wow.
Yeah. Like he was been playing around like, avoiding his nair like really well. So let's
hmm
look at the second stock and see why it is that Spargo was actually avoiding it pretty well. Um so yeah, so like he started introducing shield, it looks like. Okay, nice combo there. Not good situations. But yeah, it looks like that he's been using a bit more shield options out of shield. Oop, here we go. Yeah, it just definitely seems like he's been just shielding a lot more, and Light's starting to realize it, but instead of like directly dealing with it, like like we were saying, like going for grabs, he's
hmm
trying to do like these different timing mix-ups and stuff. Like he's because one of these mix-ups is like introducing a different aerial, for example. Like I think here in a little bit
Sure.
he's going to use like down air or something. Yeah. So what he's trying to accomplish with this down air, like he didn't mean to like full hop it, but if say like he short hopped it instead, what he's trying to
Yeah.
accomplish with it is if he short hopped this instead of full hopping it, Spargo's been trying to up B out of shield to punish like any nair approaches on his shield. This
hmm
dare would beat the up B out of shield because of the fact that like he buffers up B out. There's still a lot of hits that's coming out of this down there, so it's going to actually beat. Maybe he was trying to beat the up B out like at the very apex. It just sucks that that it happened on like the opposite side of him.
Sure. Yeah, I follow.
Yeah, but yeah, so like he knew the up B was going to come out, so he tried to down air it to actually beat it out. Um,
Okay.
to try and discourage holding shield, but like doing things earlier, so that way he can nair more. Uh, yeah. So it seems just looking through the matches, one thing that, like you said, was like kind of caught your interest is just like learning more about like, oh well, like what would be like my character's like broken thing that like I would want to actually abuse more, and like we're finding out with Fox. It's like, okay, Nair seems like a broken thing, so it's time to watch more VODs and see like just how broken like of a move it is, and like what options it
Hmm.
covers, and like just learn more about
Yeah.
like, you know, focusing on like using one move for a game plan. Um,
Okay, that makes total sense.
all right, so yeah, I'll go ahead and stop that. But yeah, that's how we would look at analyzing a match like that and just seeing that, huh, Nair seems pretty broken on this character. It's time to now go into you know, the rest of the the rest of the process for identify. We found out that Nair is broken. We're going to develop solutions on how we can use like abuse Nair as much. So maybe finding out
Hmm.
what situations will allow me to hit Nair more.
Sure.
Then we would exercise it. So, well, before that, what from watching Light's matches, what situations did you think that hit going for like a neutral air would work out the most?
Um, can you elaborate on that? I think this might be where I'm not as familiar,
Okay. Um.
like with the game.
So it kind of
Are you
goes.
asking between like neutral, disadvantage, advantage?
It's like it's like putting like with the skill shot analysis that we were talking about
Yeah.
before. Basically, where like when we said like, you know, exercise the solutions, like focusing on skill shots and setting up skill shots, like
Hmm.
focusing on neutral air and trying to set up like neutral air like kills or whatever.
Yeah.
Try like was if we look like at the first match, like the first stock when Light was playing using neutral airs, just we want to see like why are the reasons that Spargo was getting hit by these neutral airs, like what which situations where we want to keep creating or like forcing Spargo to deal with neutral air in order to get them to work.
Okay.
So yeah, if we look back at the first match here, let's see. Okay. It looks like to me so far he's gotten his nairs on Spargo. Let's see. I think he's only got two. Well, he's about to get this third one. I think that's the last one he gets the whole match. Okay. So it seemed like from just those three neutral airs that he is getting his neutral airs off of either making Spargo whiff something,
Hmm.
which in this situation he whiffed his up tilt, so he got this one. Um, this next one he got him before the startup of something. So basically, like I'd also when I say like the startup of some, I don't think he actually like threw the move out, but like patient like Sparko waiting to try and see something happen.
Yeah.
So for me, if I like looking at a Fox player trying to find like neutral airs, the times that they want to actually try neutral air and try and get it to work is if their opponent seems to be more to the ground and they're either doing two things. They're either waiting around for you to do something because they're trying to actually either whip punish you themselves or like try to actually hit you with something, or if you know that they're going to try and actually do some type of attack, so you jump fully over it and then come back down with a neutral air. Um, so yeah, with punishing or actually just taking advantage of the fact that they're not like trying to keep you out and just do it because like they're just waiting
Yeah.
around.
Okay.
So we watched, paused, look, found, Nair is broken. Develop solutions to make. How do we get Nair to happen more often? So we get Nair to happen more often because either get opponent to whiff, get opponent to wait around, and there could be other ways to actually get it too, but like this is just from what we saw from
Yeah.
the first game, how Light got them. So if we watch the rest of it, maybe we find other ways on how to actually get, like, find out how to do neutral airs.
Okay.
But yeah, and then we just take it into, like, the exercise phase. We actually practice, like, either in training mode, like, practicing these scenarios. Like, practice someone's just, like, waiting in place, or it's just, like, running around or something. We set the CPU to just, like, move or, like, run away from us. Then we just practice, like, jumping in, doing Nair. Or, like, we get them to, like, throw out, like, a smash attack in place. Then, like, we just jump over it and Nair them.
Okay.
And then go into friendlies, just kind of like with setting up the kill shot. It's like land one neutral air. And then see, like, okay, how do we get it to happen? Because, like, oh, they whiffed. It's like, okay, can I do it again? Or, oh, I didn't get any neutral airs because of, like, X, Y, and Z. It's like, okay, I'll note that down, and just keep playing. So this is something that I have to find a solution for that neutral air can't cover.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then we just analyze another light VOD, or we analyze our own VOD, or talk with other people, and then just see if we've improved on that after doing this for like a little while. But that's kind of how I see, like, the idea of, like, the both improving and also, like, starting with your competitive journey is that whatever you initially wanted to do, whether it is like some different goal or something that you really liked, look, and then just like what you've already been doing before is like looking at matches, thinking of a goal, going into it, playing it, and then just thinking afterwards, like, did it work or like did it not, and then just go back through the process.
Yeah, totally. I'm a big believer in the process. That's kind of what, if I was like to summarize what I meant by like competitive journey, is like developing that process that I can run through a bunch of times and have like a direction for improvement. So that's like perfect.
Sweet. Well, then I think for that part, then now that you got like a process, you can kind of just recreate this with either with like Dark Samus, Fox, or any of the other characters we talked about before too. Or maybe you find out that maybe there's a character that I might have missed that's kind of rushed down, either not as much, but like you just kind of like, you don't mind that, you like everything else though about them.
Okay.
Did you have like any questions about like that kind of process, or like just more stuff about like you said, that focus on looking at a character's game plan?
No, that makes total sense. And I like that. That seems really similar to the approach I had for League, but there are like slight differences, and I'm glad you pointed those out. That helps me a lot. That's
Gotcha.
perfect.
Okay, well, I'm happy to hear that. I don't have much else I think I need to say. The only thing I'd add on for practice purpose is, you kind of already hit on the nail too about it, is like there's, when you're practicing either like solo queue or anything like that, the big things to take in mind for anything is that you'd have two different phases when you're doing your practice. There's the deliberate practice, which you've already said before, like that deliberate like goal or objective, having
Yeah.
something like that to work on and only focusing on that for like, a small amount of time, which I say like 30 minutes or less. So that way you don't get
Mhm.
like too burnt out or something.
Sure.
Uh, and it helps too when you don't actually have like a full like hour, like focus on something for like a full hour and then try to come back to it later, because it's less that you have to digest, less burnout on yourself as well with that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, sure.
And then the other part about it for like after the deliberate time is just like taking a small like 5-10 minute break or something like that. It helps a lot, so that way both for the burnout, but also helps because I haven't looked too much into the science of it, but I think when you do like those small little breaks, it refreshes yourself, so that way you can go back into that small little phase of like what it is that you did. It's like a quick review of like, okay, I did Fox's neutral air for like 30 minutes. It's like, what have I learned about this? Once you
Mhm.
come back from the break, it's like, okay, these are things I learned. These are things I can't do. Let's go back into this and see if I can learn more about it.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Uh, Aside from that, the other thing that I can think of briefly is just talking about like your goal, but I think that's basically it.
Mhm. And then I guess like homework. What would you? I mean, I guess we kind of have that outline. Um, Practice opportunities. What does that look like? Do you think online, like on the in game like online ladder is a good practice tool or?
It, mm, there's actually an interesting video I watched about that lately. I'll have to find it again, but basically
Okay.
the summary of the video is that it's better if you can. I think overall with Smash, the online isn't that great, but there
Yeah.
is workarounds with it online if you can't play with people offline. The
Okay.
biggest ones is try to focus on playing just in like arenas with people who probably, I won't say they have to have like the same goal of like wanting to improve, but at least if there's someone that like they want to play competitively with you, and like so you'll
Mhm.
be able to grind out a number of matches, because the most
Yeah.
annoying
That
thing
makes
that can
sense.
happen most annoying thing that can happen to you, like when you play like quick play or elite, is that you play someone for one match, they don't like your play style, they maybe they just get that one lucky win and then they just quit, and now you're looking for someone
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, I follow.
So with that,
Okay.
yep. So with that in the arenas, you can actually just play someone for as many times as you want, and it'll be a consistently playing against a certain character, so you're not just like adjusting to another match like immediately if you're trying to focus on like that certain character.
That makes sense.
Uh, let's see, but yeah, that probably would be the best bet for online, is just trying to play people like in the Ball State Discord, see if anyone would be down to actually play some matches, or if that doesn't work, there's other like character discords that like you can join and actually play against their characters too.
Okay, yeah. I never thought of that. That's actually a really good idea. Okay.
Um, but yeah, back to your goals here. So winning a local, I think it all kind of just goes down that list like of how I think it will actually work out for you. Is
Okay.
in order to get the big goal of winning a local, we do need to get into that competitive level of Smash, which is focusing on what the opponent is doing.
Mhm.
So, adding on to that, so focus on what the opponent is doing. Let me rephrase this then. So, make a game plan with one move or scenario. That's the easiest way in order to actually focus on what someone is actually doing.
Mhm.
Uh, So yeah, you would do that to help yourself focus on what they're doing. And once you feel like you can kind of do that with your game plan with anyone, that'll get you into like that competitive level of Smash. Uh, but I think you have a couple other things that you can actually do besides this on the same level in order to get you to win a local. You have any ideas
Okay.
what those are?
No, I do not.
Hmm. Well, you were talking about them earlier. Um, it was your focus in League. Besides skill shots, you're also focusing on the like certain champions and everything, right?
Yeah, like, do you mean like matchups or like character blueprints?
Yep, matchups, but in specifically the matchups in your area for Ball State.
Okay. Oh, you mean like, okay, this is actually more similar to Magic. So when you play Magic, you play at like a local meta, right?
Yep.
Sometimes there might be a deck that you don't typically play against, but like four people there play it. And so
Mm-hmm.
you're like, okay, I need to be comfortable with this matchup. I need to understand like what's going on. So learning like if four people at like my local play Bayo, I need to like understand the Bayo matchup pretty well.
Yep. That's exactly it.
Okay.
So we need to learn like, just looking at past results from like the Discord, what is our local meta look like? Like what are the characters that are like getting like, that I will probably play my round ones or like round twos or like or get top eights and just see like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm familiar with these characters. I won't have to focus on them. Um so yeah, just finding out what the meta is there, and then after that, maybe we can start focusing on taking down one name at a time. And
Okay. Yeah.
taking down the top 8 player, because these top 8 players are normally the ones that are, the closest to winning the event usually.
Yeah.
Continue taking down top 8 players till you win a local. So I think this would actually be how your goal would look, um, for the most part. Like with wanting to actually win that local is
Mm-hmm.
definitely definitely working on like this bottom part here first about like making a game plan and focusing on using it to focus on what your opponents do,
Okay.
which I can provide just like some resources that will get you started with that, and then you can look into it a little bit more.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
And then once we get that, then we want to actually start focusing on the local meta, like what does everyone play? How common, or not how common, but comfortable playing in it. And then taking down a top 8 player. So yeah, and then once you get to this phase, it's like just taking down, take down whoever you want here. And then after that, just do like what you're doing, like with learning the local meta. It's just like what they play, learning about like, their strategies and things like that, and then just start pushing that on to like the top 8 players, and then just pushing it on from that until you win the local.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Um, yeah, that's about all that I've got for those kind of topics there.
That's all. Yeah. This is amazing. Perfect. Oh, cool.
Okay. Well, I'll keep working on this. I was about to say I'll keep working on this doc. I'll probably share like what's probably the things that like you can just start doing like right now, like on Discord, and I'll just try to finish this up as soon as I can.
Yeah.
Um,
Perfect.
but that's about it that I have for it. Is there any other questions you kind of have with either this, what we talked about, or something that that you want to answer about Smash?
No, not at the moment. This is giving me plenty to like kind of chew on and think about. So I'm sure at maybe a different point, I might have another session and like say, hey, this is something I'm really stuck on, or I might have a better direction. But for now, this is like exactly what I was looking for. So this is awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. I'm glad that you found that we kind of learned both me learning some things about like League there, and also you learning a couple of more things about like what Smash from it too. So I'm
Yeah,
hoping later down the line, if you do another session, we could probably just learn a little bit more from each other on this topics.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okie doke. Well, I will go ahead and let you go here. Um, but yeah, if you have like any other like quick questions that you have, feel free to go ahead and shoot them to me on Discord. I probably will after, what is it? Today's like September 20th. I'll probably
Yep.
try and reach back out to you after was it after a month? Or yeah, after a month, so like around October 20th, just see like how things are going with it, and if you have like any other questions.
Yeah, that sounds great. That'd be dope.
Alrighty. Well, I'll leave you to it. You have yourself
All
a good
right.
night.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Mm-hmm.
Later.
Later.